Hey YouTube, this is another episode of Vape with us Weerts. Today we're going to be diving into a device that I just recently got. I've been using it for a couple weeks now, and I've come up with a couple of tips and tricks for it, and just a general small review. Today's a three-part episode, which we haven't done yet. Kind of excited to be doing that tonight. We're going to be doing a short review and our personal thoughts on the... What are you doing?
I'm counting
Oh.
for stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, we're going to be doing a short review on our thoughts on the Ishare. And after that, I'm going to break it down and bring you down up close and show you how to do a rebuild on the pods for this thing. And then after that, we're going to fill one of the rebuilt pods up and vape it and see how it works. So, what?
I just have three things.
Three things. So, let's go ahead and start in on the first thing. This is the Soren Ishare, the product we are going to be doing tonight. And I don't know if there's anything left in this thing. So it's getting kind of empty.
No thanks. Gosh.
This one's kind of empty too. Good thing, because we're going to be doing a pod rebuild on these. The vapor production on these things, when they're a new pod, you can't beat them. There's not a device this small that produces the vapor that these things do. It's really, really nice for a mouth-to-lung device. You can do lung hits with these. They do act quite nice with them. It actually helps wick them. The stock pods, they pack so much cotton into these things that it literally takes hours for your first wicking, so you don't burn the wick in these things. So that's why I got super frustrated. It's hard to find these pods. They discontinued the Ishare as far as I know, because I can't find anything online for them. I can't find any videos on how to do rewicking or anything, so I took it upon myself to rip them apart, figure it out, so I can put it up there for you guys to know. Yeah, this one's doing all right. This one I rewicked yesterday, and I've gotten about 3 tanks through it, and I haven't had a single dry yet. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dive into the up close, and I took apart 3 pods earlier, got them all soaked, got them all clean and ready for rewicking. We're gonna dive down into the up close, and we'll see you in a minute. The Soren Ishare. The device itself is freaking awesome, but I haven't seen anything online really about it at all. I know it's been out for a while. There's a couple of videos, mostly ones that aren't in English or anything like that. So I'm doing a video here, and I'm gonna try to do a rebuild on a coil. I've broken a few of these guys down. This is the little pod we're working with today. Come on, focus. I don't know why this thing doesn't focus. But anyway, it's the Soren Ishare pods. Basically, I had to take a knife and I had to go along the edges here and along the edges down here on the bottom and kind of just rock it back and forth and work your way in there. And then once you get a nice groove in there, you can twist the knife sideways, and then you'll be able to pop them out like that. That's the bottom coil. I've already taken this one apart and took the wick out of it and did a pre-burn on the coil to get all the gunk and yucky off of it. So there's a gasket inside here too. That's what seals everything off. This little gasket here. So we're going to put that gasket down, and then your mouthpiece and your bung for the top. That seals everything off for where you fill the fluid at. So I went ahead and ripped all 3 of these apart, soaked them, got them all ready to rebuild, and I figure I'm going to do one on camera today, just so there's something else on YouTube if anybody else is wanting to do something like this. The pods are getting harder and harder to find. And I found, pardon me, I found that
when I rewick them, I can kind of adjust up and down the thickness of the cotton until I get what I want, and then I can try to mimic that the best I can. I did one last night, and I've gotten almost 3 tanks through it, and I haven't had a single dry hit, and that was my biggest problem with these, is just no matter how long you let them sit, they're just so packed with cotton that it wasn't wicking almost at all, and you'd have to force it to wick by plugging the hole and sucking out the mouthpiece to try to siphon the fluid in there, and it just didn't work. So I'm getting some Japanese cotton here ready to go. Trying to, you want it to stay somewhat fluffy, but also roll it into a contour where it's going to go through the coil, because if you compact it too much, then it's not going to want to wick because it's too tight in itself. So we're going to take this guy, we'll grab one of these coils here and slide that guy through, pull him out. See, it slides rather easy, and then it'll kind of get a little chunky here, so you want it to be somewhat fat. You know, you want it to almost, you have to kind of force it through a little bit. And then what I've been doing, because the only way of getting these to fit back up in there is I go right up against the edge and I cut it at a diagonal on each side. So it's kind of cone shaped. So when you're putting it back together, it doesn't get stuck on the gasket. And what I should have done is put the gasket on here first, because it is kind of a pain. But that doesn't mean it can't be done. As a matter of fact, we're going to have to do it here. And these gaskets are a one-way gasket. You'll see that there's kind of a cutout over here on this side, and that cutout is designed to contour the bottom, so when it's sealing, it has the plastic lip to push up against. Otherwise, it would just flip over. I'm trying to get this together. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to keep it on camera, too. Alright, so basically that's what I end up with. And I kind of do it that way because if you look, the coil's kind of tucked in the gasket, but it's not pinched. So, I mean, it kind of keeps the coil itself in position, so when you're sliding it up into the housing, you don't have the little stray cotton threads coming out of there. I know threads isn't the right word, but that's cotton particles, I guess. And then you take that guy, and this is your pod here, and this is the side that you're going to be putting the coil in. As you can see, that the bottom has that little channel on each side of it, and it's got this little pocket in here that's empty where your coil sits, and the rest of you here is your fill of your choice of juice. And then you have the center post that goes all the way down. That's where your vape comes up from the coil. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this guy and we're going to put him back together. And I'm having a little trouble. It's because I don't have e-juice on it. It's all clean. Usually when I have a little e-juice on it, it slides together quite easily. So I don't know why, what part's catching, or what. There we go. Now that I got it, I kind of had to work it. I'm sorry, I didn't have it on the camera, but it was really tough because they're dry. I do suggest putting a little bit of e-liquid, of course the flavor that you're planning on putting in the pod, and just take it, and once this little guy here is set on here, see there's that one way thing I was telling you about. That's got to go down on top, and then I suggest just taking a little bit of e-liquid and kind of just rubbing it on there so it slips together nice and easy, because that kind of was a pain. I wasn't expecting that. I haven't done these dry. I have done a couple of just quick little rebuilds to kind of get the hang of it before I did it on camera, and these were always still coated in a little bit of e-juice. So I suggest just putting a little bit of e-juice on there to lubricate it, to get it in there. Alright, so now that we have it back in there, it looks quite nice actually. On the side you can see where it's poking out. Can't really see it that well. I hope it turns out better than what I'm looking at now, but it looks quite nice in there. It's still kind of got a boulder on each side of it, so hopefully it's not too tight or it's not too loose. Otherwise it does leak out of this little bottom hole here. And I've noticed if you just kind of blow through it a little bit into a napkin and get the stuff that's out of the chamber in there, and you know, do a couple of 4 or 5 pulls off of it to kind of dry that wick out a little bit, and it seems to stay. Like, even the really loose one that I had that wanted to leak when it leaked when I filled it, and then after I got the wick kind of dry, it was fine the rest of the time. So that is the breakdown and put together of a Soren Ishare pod, and this guy is ready for another fill.
We're back.
And we're back. So here is the fresh pod that I just got done doing. Okay, put my hand behind it, she says. There's my fresh pod that we just got done doing in the close-up. So my wife was complaining at this first part of the video that hers was burnt, didn't taste good. It's probably one of the original pods. I can barely get a tank, maybe a tank and a half before they're gone. They burn up, they don't wick properly, and then they taste like crap. So we're going to take this fresh pod and we're going to fill this bad boy up and see how it does with my re-wicking skills. Here we go. I'm going to bring this thing up. Make sure you go along the sides on this guy. There's a tube in the center you don't want to hit, because if you do, then it's going to fill up the chamber where the coil is, and you're going to have a bad time. Alright, so we got that guy filled almost all the way to the top. There you go, all the way to the top, almost. Pop this little bung cap in the top, a little top plug, keeps it from leaking everywhere. And you're supposed to wait up to 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and pause the video, and we'll be back in 5 or 10 minutes. And we're back. Once again, it's been about 10 minutes or so. Went ahead and filled up this pod that we're going to be putting in the other Ishare that my wife is using. It looks rather soaked in there. Not flooded, but soaked, which is good. And we're going to pop the little top cap on there. Get a nice little click out of there. Go ahead and pop that into your device. I'm still using the same one I had. It's not bad yet. We're going to see how it tastes.
Way better. Hold on. So which flavor?
Now, switch devices and see if mine tastes the same as yours. See if it's still tasting good.
This is way more flavor.
Actually, this one has different juice in it.
Oh.
But either way, looks like it's doing okay. Is it leaking at all? Do you got any leaking in there? Do you have any leaking on the bottom of that thing? Down in here where the hole is? No. So no leaking so far. She's got good flavor. She's got good vapor production. Actually, her vapor production's a little bit better than mine. This was my first attempt, but it's still working, so I can't really complain. Yeah, it tastes real good. The first pods that I had for these things, they got burnt before I could even enjoy the device. I think that they should have had better quality control. That could be one of the reasons why. I mean, this little kit is cool. It is a really cool kit, and I would have hucked it. You know, if I was a new vapor, I would have thrown this thing away and would have been disappointed. But because I've been vaping for so long and I've been on and off with the things that I kind of know what I'm doing, I was able to kind of rip it apart and remanufacture it back together a little better than what they do on the assembly line there. And still doing good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a win, if you ask me. If you do want to get this device, I do suggest watching this video so we can get things broken down. You can reuse your pods as many times as you want, as long as the coil inside them is not broken. You can't rewrap them. It looks like you'd have to desolder them, and it would take a lot to be able to get those coils in and out of there if you wanted to replace the coil itself. So if you do damage the coil itself, I say spend the $14 and get a 3-pack at your local vape shop if they carry them still. If not, you can get them off of eBay. I've seen them on there for, I don't know, sometimes $3 a pod. That's worth it if you're going to be able to take this thing apart 4 or 5 times and use that coil, as long as you get the gunk off of it and do a pre-burn with a torch on it and put it under cold water and get all that nasty off of there. I see it being a decent investment. So, in my opinion, I love the device. I will continue to use the device until my pods are melted, gone, kaput. So, let's take another vape out of this, see what happens. Decent vapor production. I really like it. So I hope this video was informative to you. I hope you guys learned something from it. If you did, or if you didn't, and you just kind of like watching our stuff, then give us a like or a share. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And thank you for watching, YouTube. You guys have a good night. You keep it classy.